Hello, everyone. This is Pharmacist Michael, and today I have Liya back with me. But today we're going to talk about when the healthcare system, let's just say, is less than ideal, and maybe some tips to how they could better treat their patients. So, why don't you start by telling us the story that you told us on TikTok Saturday night?
I would love to. So, Saturday morning, well, we're going to back up to Thursday. So, Thursday, I spent the whole day feeling like I was just going to faint. I was going to fall over. I couldn't stand up and walk around. Like it was really bad. I could literally feel my gums, my tongue, and my throat tingling. Like it was insane. My blood pressures were all over the place. My sugar was jumping up and back down and up and back down every other hour. So I called the nurse's line on Thursday. They said, well, we think you need to go into the ER. And I said, well, are you guys going to do anything? Because usually when I go in, they don't do anything. They send me home and say, feel better. And they said, well, we think you're having a neurological event. Go to the ER. And I was like, no, unless you guys tell me you're going to treat me, I'm not going. So I don't go. Friday, it gets worse. I call back Friday. They tell me it's the same thing. Go to the ER. And I said, okay, well, if it gets much worse, I'll go to the ER. I call back Saturday because it's even worse. And finally, I'm like, okay, if you guys can call ahead so that I can get a hydration IV, that's all I need. I don't need the ER. I really just need a hydration IV. And they have the ability to call it into their clinic and have the IV set up because it's an emergency service. I get put on hold and she comes back on the line and says the ambulance is 2 minutes away. And before I have time to ask what ambulance, there are firefighters at my door coming into my house. They checked me all the way. My kids are freaking out. My dad's freaking out. I stopped by my dad's room. I'm like, Dad, there's an ambulance coming. He's like, what? I'm like, I don't know. They called an ambulance on me. So the fire department is doing all my levels, checking everything. My blood pressure was pretty high. It was like 150 over 120. So the paramedics show up. And they've got this look like, why are we here? Her vitals are pretty much normal. Her blood pressure is high. So they're putting me into the car, into the back of the ambulance. And quote unquote, the ambulance driver looks at me and goes, nobody else could drive you? Head bobbing out everything. And I go, I didn't call you guys. The doctor's office did. I don't want to be here. I'm not the one calling you guys. So after about 15 minutes of arguing back and forth, and I'm sitting in front of my house, basically telling me that I don't need an ambulance, and ambulances are really supposed to be for super emergent issues. They finally get it that I did not call the ambulance, that I had the ambulance called on me because my blood sugars are all over the place. My highest blood pressure was like 190 over 130 something. It was insane. But nothing was regulating. I end up getting sent to the ER. I show up to the ER. They put me out in the front room. And I tell them again, like, hey, my gums, my tongue, and my throat are tingling. I feel like I'm going to drop. I'm going to pass out. You guys, I need you guys to figure out what's going on. They get me back in a room within a few minutes and they go, oh, we just need one more tube of blood. They drug test me without saying another word to me. Didn't tell me they were drug testing, just chose to drug test me. And when I saw that they ordered a drug test, because I have an app on my phone that tells me when test results are in, and the drug test results come back, and of course, I have less than 50 nanograms of marijuana in my system. For anyone who doesn't know what that means, that's basically enough marijuana for an occasional user, someone who almost never uses marijuana. Now, I use one of these. This is a marijuana vape pen. This is a gram, and it's usually filled to the very top, okay? I use one of these a week, sometimes every 2 weeks. I get a micro dose every time I use one. Like, it's barely measurable how much you get. So I tell them, I'm like, you guys asked me what I was on. I told you I had Zofran and marijuana, and that was it. Why did you drug test me? Oh, well, some of the symptoms you were complaining about could be linked to drugs. I'm like, I wasn't doing drugs. There's no reason to assume I'm doing drugs. You guys have seen me in here like 5 or 6 times. I've never been on drugs. Oh, yeah, sorry. They give me a liter of fluids and they send me home.
So wait a second. What other lab tests did they do?
They did a CBC. Hold on. I'll pull it up actually. And it turned out that I was really severely dehydrated. Like I ended up needing to go in. If I didn't go in,
Right.
I would have been in big trouble. But that was essentially the only issue. So the blood labs that they did, and I can even read you guys my levels if you'd like to hear them. That's totally up to you guys. They did a
Hi, Janet.
comprehensive metabolic panel, a CBC with differential, a UA microscopic, which is urine microscopic,
Right.
A UA culture, an O initial lactate sepsis, and a drug screen.
Okay, so I'm assuming that your BUN serum creatinine ratio was high.
So let's see. I can let you know right now. My K was 3.5, which is low. My NA was 140, which is about standard. My CI was 102, standard. My CO2 was 29. Anion gap was 9. BUN was 10. Creatinine was 0.80. My glucose was 114. I mean, everything else was good. Now, my bilirubin was 1.4. My protein was 8.5. Then when we get to my CBC, my red blood count was 5.47. My HCT was 47.5.
Okay.
But again, they chose to drug test me because apparently that was important. My microscopic cultures showed 4 plus mucus, 2 plus amorphous phosphates, less than 10 of the other cells. My UA culture was, my protein was 30. I had 40 ketones in my urine. 40.
So,
and then my initial lactic acid was 0.8.
Are you on a ketogenic diet?
No.
Okay,
no, I'm going anorexic. Basically, my body has gone anorexic due to gastroparesis, and I'm in constant ketosis, and they won't fix it. But here it is. They, just to show you guys, they literally less than 50 nanograms. Less than, you guys.
Yeah.
Less than. That means that if I were to get 50 micrograms, you would have to take like a quarter of a puff of a joint to get that little of a reading. If you smoke a joint, you're going to have about 100 nanograms plus in your system.
Yep.
And it stays there for about 2 to 3 months. Okay. I use this every single day throughout the day, up to 10 times a day. And my count is 50. If one more doctor tries to tell me I'm abusing it.
Yeah, that's silly. But
today.
So did you feel better when they sent you home?
No, I felt actually the exact same way. I ended up having my, I think it was my dad who came and picked me up, but no, I felt just as crappy as when I was admitted into the hospital. And when he said that they were just going to give me a bag of fluids and release me, I said, well, do you guys want to check my levels to make sure that everything's where it needs to be? And he goes, no, we gave you a whole liter. You should be fine. And I said, I don't know. I mean, I looked at my blood levels. I was pretty dehydrated. And he goes, no, you'll be fine with just a liter. Go home, drink some water.
But you can't drink water. So
I wouldn't be here if I could drink water and just deal with it at home.
Let's talk about this for a minute. So anytime you try to eat anything or drink anything, you throw up, right?
Yeah, I either throw up or my body doesn't properly process it, so I don't get the benefits of it. So like, let's say if I drink water, I'm either going to pee literally seconds after I drink it because my body's not holding it in, or I might hold it in for about half an hour before I puke it up.
Okay. Same thing with food?
Yeah. I've been switched to a liquid diet. I'm on the Ensure diet now.
So you said that you had anorexia earlier in your life.
Yes.
Was that for the same reason, or was that because it was a body type thing?
It was, the anorexia from when I was younger was a mix of things. I had a difficult relationship with my mother, to
Okay.
say the least. And I was very heavily into ballet, modeling, acting, like all of that. So, in an effort to keep me light enough for ballet, I was basically put on a really strict diet. And what started off as a strict diet turned into anorexia because when I say ballet, I don't mean like Mary Pat's School of Dance where
Yeah.
everyone's like super cute and it's really fun. Oh, look
Yeah.
at my baby go. No, I'm
Yeah.
talking about I danced for University of Louisville starting at age 6. So
Yeah.
I was in a really hardcore regimented program. I had rehearsals up to 6 times a week, usually 3 to 4 times a week. These rehearsals were not half an hour like your Mary Pat School of Dance. We are talking 2 to 3 hour rehearsals. That does not count rehearsals for shows, which as a company dancer, you are expected to be in every single show.
Right.
That doesn't count the shows that you audition for that are on top of the company mandated shows. So I was a very, very, very serious dancer when I was younger. And I mean, literally, I would dance almost longer than I'd spend time in school. I was even let out of school for certain dances, performances, rehearsals, things like that. So it started off as a management, and it just when my mom decided not to control it, and there were a lot of comments that I would hear when I was younger. You're getting fat, look at your thighs, look at your this. I mean, I was 12 years old and 65 pounds. I did not reach 100 pounds until 2008 after my first daughter was born, and I reached 110 pounds, and I thought, oh my God, that's so much weight, because and I was in my 20s at that point. I think I was like 23, 24. So up until
How
my
tall are
mid-20s,
you?
4'11". So up until my mid-20s, I was under 100 pounds, and it was totally normal to me. I didn't stop being anorexic until I was 28. And then by the time I hit about 32, I started binge eating. So I only had 28, 29, 30, 31, 30, about 5-year break where I had a healthy relationship with food. And then I began binge eating. And now I have anorexia again based on gastroparesis. But I did learn an interesting thing. I learned that through some of my doctors and through my psychologist that a lot of people with gastroparesis actually were people who had eating disorders, long-term eating disorders, meaning longer than 5 years. A lot of people with gastroparesis are people who have had eating disorders for longer than 5 years, whether aware or unaware of them. And essentially, we kind of do it to ourselves because we either deprave our bodies or overfill our bodies to a point where our body doesn't know what to do. So it just shuts down. And, they tell people all the time when they're younger, be careful with eating disorders, really take it seriously. And you don't, because you're like, I feel fine. And then look, you turn 37 and you're on fucking Insure. Like I'm 37. I should be able to go to a steakhouse with my husband and have a steak, but I can't. I have to drink Insure. That's where I'm at. I'm 116 pounds. In November, I was 167. Now I'm 116 pounds. And my weight loss is uncontrollable. And so far, they've not been able to not only not stop my weight loss, but not stop ketosis.
Okay, so first of all, I want to say that ballet and gymnastics are notorious for causing anorexia, bulimia, eating disorders.
Modeling as well.
Modeling, yes, in younger women, girls. So that's a normal thing. It happens a lot. In fact, that's one of the risk factors.
Yeah.
My question to you now is, have they tried like Motegrity and some of these drugs that can help with gastroparesis? Have they done
gave me
anything?
2 drug options, only 2. One was a drug that came out of Canada, is not FDA regulated. I would have had to buy it through the doctor because they get it from Canada and then they give it to you here. The other option was a drug that can cause tardive
dyskinesia.
Thank you. I cannot take that drug because I have already had a microstroke. I don't know if you guys noticed, but this side of my face doesn't really move. I had a microstroke in 2018. It was from a complex migraine. And so I can't take any drugs that have a risk of tardive dyskinesia because my risk is already way, way up there and I already get tics. So if it's even a side effect, then I'm done. Not worth it.
So have you seen a specialist for this?
I have a GI specialist that I was actually supposed to see today.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't run the test because of the marijuana thing. And that, which I think that's silly, but I can't make rules for the hospitals.
I mean, I'm happy to get into that one too, because that was
that's I'm more concerned about why they're not trying different therapies for you. I mean, why can't they try Motegrity, for instance?
Because it's easier to sweep somebody that's sick like me under the rug. I mean, also, I have a lot of drug allergies and drug interactions. So there's a lot of stuff that I can't take because just naturally throughout my life, I have been allergic to most.
Can you take erythromycin?
Can I take what?
Erythromycin.
I don't know.
Okay, because generally speaking, people that need to have their GI tract stimulated, they use little small doses of erythromycin.
At this point, I'll try anything, honestly.
Because, well, they should have already you should have already tried it. Janet wants to know what the drug out of Canada was.
Let me look it up. I think I have it in an email. Hold on. Let me check my messages because I think I actually have the name of that one.
And did they tell you what the cost of that was going to be? Was it some outrageous?
$100 every single time I needed my medicine. So
which was how often is that?
Every refill, I'm not sure. Hold on one second. Nope, that's not it.
But you did say that you had insurance, right? TRICARE.
Yeah, I have TRICARE insurance.
Which is military insurance.
Military insurance, right? Correct. This is them explaining what it is.
They should cover it.
No, this was them explaining what gastroparesis is. Oh, here it is. Domperidone. Domperidone from Canada.
Okay, that's going to cause tardive kinesia too.
Or metoclopramide.
That's Reglan. So why can't they give you Reglan? That's available in the United States.
Because they both can cause tardive dyskinesia is what they said.
Yeah.
And I'm at too high of a risk for it. They won't be able to, if I get seizures on that, there's no way to stop it at that point. And then they just gave me a seizure disorder that they now have to battle.
Right. Okay. So what are our options then? Erythromycin's one for sure. That doesn't cause tardive dyskinesia. Yeah. I would ask about that and why they haven't tried that.
Yeah.
I don't know if Motegrity causes tardive dyskinesia or not.
So at this point, because
when
I saw my GI today, and I quote, "If you don't like it, get another GI doctor." So at this point, I'm actually going to be calling my primary and saying, I'm not seeing this person again. I showed up for my procedure the same way I did last time. They refused to do it this time. Get me a different doctor.
Okay, here's what I'm gonna suggest you do, Leah. And I'm very serious about this. I think you should contact Marissa. You know who Marissa is? She comes to my TikTok lives. She will talk to you about this. She's had this disorder for years. She knows a lot about it. So she will probably at least, well, not probably for sure, be able to tell you what she's tried and what the options are, because I think she's pretty much done everything.
Right. Well, so one saving grace that I do have is that part of the reason they think I can't process food how I should be able to, even with gastroparesis, is because I have very severe endometriosis, and it has engulfed my appendix. It has attacked my stomach, and it is on its way to my heart. So I have a hysterectomy coming in August. So it is possible, they said, after my hysterectomy, I might be able to function normally again and accept food again. I might not be able to eat big meals again, but I'll be able to process more foods. And again, they were supposed to do a procedure today to see what my gallstones look like to decide if they're going to take out my my gallbladder, and they didn't do it.
Did they drug test you today again?
Nope.
They just asked you.
Yeah, they just asked me, and then they just said they're not going to do it. And we both argued with them. I mean, we were sitting there saying, last time I came in, this wasn't an issue, and you guys did the procedure anyway, and it was a much longer procedure. I mean, last time it was a colonoscopy and an upper endoscopy, and they had no problem doing it.
Did they tell you beforehand that you couldn't do these things, or they?
No, they just said nothing by mouth, and I took nothing by mouth, just like they said. It was absolutely.
So you drove 160 miles. You drove 160 miles for nothing.
And I even asked, and she even said, "Who said you couldn't take anything by mouth?" I said, "Your staff that calls about the appointments." And she said, "She told you couldn't take any anti-nausea meds?" I said, "No, she simply said nothing by mouth after midnight. That is all she said." And as when someone tells me nothing by mouth after midnight, I'm going to assume that that includes medications, especially since I'm coming to a hospital where they have my entire list of fucking medications.
Did you get to see the doctor?
Oh, yeah.
And he said no, too. She's
the one that told me tough shit.
Oh.
She's the one that told me tough. I don't know about last time. And I was like, you were the doctor that did the procedure last time. What? How do you not know about last time? You were the doctor that did the procedure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Janet, feel free. I know you have questions for Liya.
Oh, yeah. No, feel free.
Janet is very interested in this, which is part of the reason that I contacted you to come on here after that ridiculous.
Yeah. Between Saturday and today, it's just like, what is with the wonky?
I don't get
like
it. I don't know, man. I can't explain it, and I don't.
And then she's sitting there telling me, "Oh, well, you know, and I'll talk to my medical staff about how they give instructions." You should have thought about that a long time ago, because I guarantee you this is not the first time this has happened. And I even told her, I was like, what did I tell her? Hold on. It just left my brain. I said, I feel like you guys are giving me two options. I feel like my two options are to show up violently ill, puking and in pain, or to lie to you guys. Those are the options you're giving me.
Yeah.
Well, no one said that you couldn't take an anti-nausea med.
They said nothing by mouth.
By mouth.
Yeah, that's what that means. That means nothing.
Nothing by mouth means nothing by mouth. Every other operation I've ever had, when they say nothing by mouth, they mean your medications as well, because 10 times out of 10, or I should say 9 times out of 10 now, but 9 times out of 10, they tell you nothing by mouth, because when you show up to the hospital, any medicine you're supposed to take or should have taken, they give to you in an IV.
Well, your chances of vomiting go way up. And somebody like you, it's even worse.
Exactly.
Because you already have that risk factor before you even get the anesthesia.
And I told them, look at my drug test results from Saturday. Less than 50 micrograms. Take another one. I don't care. Shit. Right here.
I don't. That's
it was so ridiculous.
And you know, it doesn't even bother me that that's their policy. What bothers me is they didn't tell you that before, and you'd already been through this. So you assume that things are going to be the same the second time as they were the first time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have drove 85 miles one way to get the test done.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have told them that I hit my marijuana vape.
Right. You just would have.
I would have lied to them and said, no, I haven't taken anything. But because I'm honest and because I make it a point to be honest. And so now another thing I'm going to have to deal with is, what do you think my medical chart is going to say? My medical chart is now going to say that they had to turn down the procedure because I was on marijuana, regardless of the fact that it's been such a minute amount that it barely registers on a drug test. How long have I been dealing with vomiting issues? Vomiting issues I've been dealing with for most of my life. because I was bulimic for so long and anorexic for so long. I don't know that ever was something that stopped. But as far as like the gastroparesis vomiting, I can tell you the day it started, it was November 21st of last year. And I woke up and the most stomach pain I've ever been in, the most nauseous I've ever felt, worse than any other morning sickness I ever had. And how violently I was throwing up was, I mean, I thought I had some kind of gnarly stomach flu or something. It didn't dawn on us for the first like almost 3 weeks that it could have been anything other than a stomach flu. And on week 3, I go, okay, this is way too long for a stomach flu. I'm not having fevers. I'm not having any of these other things. I'm just puking. We get into the doctor, and even getting the gastroparesis diagnosis was impossible because people weren't listening. And still, my medical staff doesn't listen to me. Drink more water, eat more Ensure. I would welcome anyone to drink 7 of the same flavored Ensures every single day.
Well, wait a second. Did they do a gastric emptying study?
Oh, yeah.
And
I have a 2-hour delay in the front and a 2-hour delay in the back. So I delay 2 hours in. I'm only at like 80%. Then once we get to 4 hours, my body completely stopped processing. And then I was at 69% at my 6 hour. 69% of food so 69% means the amount of food that is not broken down. By the time you reach 6 hours, most people are 89% broken down and have very little left in their stomach. I had 69% of solid food stuck in my stomach. So that means essentially my gastric emptying is delayed by 2 to 4 hours. So 2 to 4 hours after I eat something is when my body starts processing. It completely stops for a few hours and then it finishes.
why aren't they tube feeding you?
That's a great question. They keep telling me, try to eat nuts, try to eat berries, try to eat veggies, drink Ensure. And people, you have to eat like a pound of veggies to reach 1,200 calories.
Right.
Not just veggies. I would have to eat a pound of veggies, nuts, and fruits every single day, plus at least 3 or 4 Ensure shakes to get to 1,200 calories on a vegan diet.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to do. It's pretty hard. I mean, and then how much of that food is actually getting absorbed? You got to think about that.
Yeah.
How much will stay down? Mm-hmm. Do you believe that the gastroparesis was caused by the eating disorders?
It makes sense, honestly, because when you look at kind of how my eating disorder went, I spent years starving myself. Then I spent years not just starving, but starving and purging and binging. Then I took a 5-year break, and then I went from 5 years of healthy eating to several years of just straight binge eating. And I mean, I was the person where I would go to Jack in the Box. I would get a junior jumbo jack, a jumbo jack, zucchini, fried zucchini, something like I'd come back with a bag of food and eat the whole thing. Like I could literally, I was a person that could eat 2 Big Macs back to back and not have a problem. I could eat a large pizza on my own, not have a problem. And yeah, okay, that's fun when you're in college, but when you're in your 20s, when you're in your late 20s and 30s, that's not great for your system because your system can't keep up at that point. Like, and so I starved my system for the first half of life and then overloaded my system for the second half of life. So what do you expect?
But you need nutrition.
Nutrition.
Somehow. So, I mean, I know a lot of people don't like to be tube fed, but I can tell you I've had people on this interview that
I'll take it at this
couldn't
point.
eat, that wanted it. And now, in fact, I'm going to get Julie back on here because she had some issues with her stomach and she can't eat at all. She can't swallow is her thing. And it took her 2 years to get them to put her on tube feeding. But now she feels a whole lot better because the bottom line is some people think, it's easy to think I would never want a tube going into my stomach. This is horrible. I don't want it. But it's different if you can't eat. Yeah. Because you can't do anything with no energy and you're, you feel like crap and you're just wasting away. So then all of a sudden tube feeding doesn't sound all that bad because somehow you've got to get your calories and your nutrients into your body.
Yep. I mean, the one good thing I will say is the psychologist that they set me up with is incredible. She's actually getting me set up with, sorry guys, I'm drooling through my side that doesn't move. She's setting me up through something called Emily's program. I actually have their number. I'll have to look it up. Emily's program for anyone who has eating disorders. Emily's program deals specifically with people who struggle with eating disorders. They have inpatient, they have outpatient, and they work with people like me who are not willingly in an eating disorder, because at this point, I would kill for a cheeseburger, guys. I would love a piece of prime rib. I would kill for, like, I stole a piece of my husband's hot dog today and I took a bite. It was literally like this big.
Okay, so why do you have to be on a vegan diet?
Because my body stopped processing meat. When I eat meat, I will be curled up in a ball for up to 12 hours, 12 to 72 hours in pain while my body tries to break it down. And sometimes 3 days later, I will exhume full pieces of meat that my body did not process. They've been in my body for 3 days and come out whole.
That's probably your gallbladder, would be my guess. I'm not a doctor, but Janet wants to know if can you ever hold food down if it's a small quantity?
Honestly, there's no science to what I can hold down and what I can't. I was able to drink 3 pints of Fiji water yesterday, no problem. I took a couple sips of Fiji water today, and I was like, ugh. There's no.
So it depends on the day for you.
It depends on the day. Yeah, I have zero control at this point. I look at something, I smell it, and if it doesn't make me nauseous, I go for it. That's what my life has turned into. And I'm telling my medical staff, like, you guys need to do something. You guys are killing me. I'm slowly, and I wish I was exaggerating, but when you're 167 pounds in November, and now in July, you're 115.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's concerning. I have lost over 40% of my body weight.
Yeah, that's outrageously. That's very unhealthy.
What people need to realize, like, a lot of people are like, oh, congratulations, you lost 60 pounds.
That's too fast.
No. 60 pounds that quickly puts my heart at risk. It puts all of my major organs at risk. Yep. Because what happens when you lose weight that quickly is your body doesn't have time to adjust. That's why they say when you're trying to lose weight, you really only want to lose up to 3 or 4 pounds a week, because your body needs time to adjust to less calorie intake, to different energy burning, to different. Your body has to adjust. So when you lose so much weight in such a tiny period of time, your body goes, I give up, and everything starts shutting down.
Yeah, that's not healthy. That's well known.
I still have ulcers. I still have gallstones. They think I might have possible kidney stones, which they were supposed to look for today, which they didn't. I have lesions in my liver. Like, everything that is inside my GI tract is so bad that when I get sent to the ER and they ask me what the issue is, I literally have to tell them, you guys need to read my chart before speaking to me, because I have a very intricate, very difficult history, and I'm not going to get it all down. And I've actually seen doctor's notes where they say that getting information out of me was difficult and that they had to pry. And it's not about prying. It's about, you're asking someone who is malnourished and dehydrated to have a brain function of someone who's up here totally doing what they're supposed to be doing. No, my short-term memory has gone. Why? Because that's the first thing to go when you're malnourished and you're starving to death, is your memory goes, your balance goes, then you start having problems with vision, sight, major organs. Seizures. I get fainting spells regularly. I have to walk around with glucagon. Even my blood pressure, or my blood sugar, I'll be at 75. I'll drink a what's it called? I'll drink an Ensure. Sometimes I jump up to 135. Sometimes I only jump to 90.
Hi, Jennifer.
Sometimes I don't jump anywhere.
So you mentioned something. Mm-hmm. You said you had lesions on your liver.
Yes.
Do you know what those are?
They just said I had 3 lesions, and then
that's concerning.
I had 3 lesions, and then they found a 4th lesion, and they found a benign tumor. So the first time
How do they
found
know it's benign?
that's what they told us from the upper endoscopy the first time.
Did they take
Probably it was from
samples
the
of
first
it?
upper endoscopy.
Okay, because that is concerning to me. The fact that you have lesions on your liver.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you think that's from the endometriosis? Is it cancer? Is
Who knows?
What
I mean,
is
they
it?
said it was benign.
All 4 lesions, though, or just one of them?
That's what they said. The biggest one was 2.6 centimeters or millimeters, whatever it is. Whatever the measurement is, was 2.6 was my largest one.
So Janet said she's had her gallbladder removed, but she doesn't know how much that helped.
I heard that too. I mean, at this point, I don't know that I care what they remove. At this point, I'm tired of starving to death.
Yeah,
Because
no,
that's
I
essentially
think
what's
they
going
should.
on.
I don't understand why they're not tube feeding you or
Because they don't
something.
care. Because they don't care. And because when you have someone who's like me, who's really, really sick, they make more money off of me if I get sicker, not if I get better. And I know that a lot of people disagree with that opinion, but I've also been ill my entire life. And I can't tell you how many times I've had doctors that sit by on the wayside watching things happen. And then when they get really bad, then they treat, and it's a really expensive treatment.
Okay, here's what I'm going to tell you, Leah. I'm going to tell you something, and you probably already know this, but I want you to listen. Every doctor's not like that.
I know.
I mean, I don't know if you saw Becky's ketamine doctor on here. I know that's a whole different thing, but there are GI doctors out there that want to make you better, and that's why they're in medicine. It's just like any other profession, right? There's good ones and there's not so good ones. So my advice to you is, one, talk to somebody like Marissa that's been through what you've been through. Yeah. And 2, find somebody who's got very high ratings in gastroparesis. And she might already know them. And if you have to fly to Pittsburgh
if I have to fly at this point,
then you do it.
Yeah.
Because you need somebody who not only cares about your health, but knows what the hell they're doing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like my hysterectomy. I was diagnosed with endometriosis at 14. I was 14 when they found it. I started begging for a hysterectomy after I had my first daughter because my periods would get so heavy that I would not only become anemic, I would have to be hospitalized because of the amount of blood I was losing. And it continued that way and continued that way. I am 37 now, and they just started taking my hysterectomy seriously. Because the last doctor that saw me did an ultrasound. She goes, I don't see your uterus. We can't find your left ovary, and we think this is your appendix. We don't know. It's all covered in endometriosis, and it's now attacking your stomach. You need a hysterectomy. I said, I know. I've been begging one since I was 14. And she goes, why didn't they do it before? I said, you're going to have to ask that medical staff.
I think you're going to have to go to a bigger city. So, because, we took Joshua.
Oh, this was in San Diego. Oh. San Diego refused to do my hysterectomy, not up here. No, I was living in San Diego. I moved to San Diego when I was 18.
That's crazy. You would think San Diego would have plenty of places, or LA.
My doctors were telling me I was too young for a hysterectomy. I was too young, and then they said you had to have at least 2 kids. I had 3 kids.
That's ridiculous.
Then I needed
Why is it their job to determine how many kids you need to have?
Oh, any woman that goes for a hysterectomy, they will tell you, unless it's cancer or something like that, they will make you wait until you have 2 children in case you change your mind. I am not even making that up. Any woman that's tried to go in for a hysterectomy without kids will tell you the same thing. I have had multiple girlfriends who did not have kids, who are in their 30s with severe endometriosis, and they had to fight medical staff for a hysterectomy because they did not have children. You, as a woman, you literally have to fight for a hysterectomy because it is very rare that you find a doctor that will willingly give you one, especially if you don't have children. It's bullshit, but it's true. Welcome to the American medical system.
Oh my God.
And I can't tell you how many times I had them tell me, wow, your periods are really concerning. You're losing an alarming amount of blood. Yes, I know. I'm begging you for a hysterectomy. No, you need it for your heart health. I'm bleeding out. I'm in the emergency room fainting because of the amount of blood loss I've had from my periods. And they wouldn't do it until just now. So now in August, I finally get it.
Jennifer, I would say gastric emptying study for one. If you think you might have gastroparesis, that's what I'd ask for.
Yeah, gastro emptying study for sure. Tell your doctor.
I'm going to tell I'm going to tell you to talk to Marissa. Guys, the reason I'm telling you this is because not only is she super smart, but she's went through all this stuff for years.
You want to talk to Marissa about gastroparesis like you want to talk to me about bone breaks.
Yeah, I mean, because she's super nice, and she will answer your questions. She loves talking about that kind of stuff and she's very knowledgeable. She knows a lot more about it than I do. That's for sure.
Yeah. Jennifer, definitely ask for a GI study. Another thing you can do, especially if you really trust your doctor, is schedule a sit-down appointment with your doctor. And if you can, it always helps your doctors. And I learned this a long time ago. Whether you do it on your phone, whether you do it on a notepad, whether you do it in a notebook, whatever, write down what you ate, when you ate it, what you threw up, and when you threw it up, what color it was, and even take a picture of it. Here's why. Because I can't tell you for how many months I complained to my doctor that I was throwing up snot and bile, and they tried to tell me people don't throw up snot.
Well, you can if it gets into your stomach.
Right. I took pictures of and I literally one time I was throwing up and I was by my doctor's office. So I puked into a bag and I walked right into his office and I asked for the doctor and they brought him out and I handed him the bag. I said, "Here's my puke." And he goes, "Why are you showing me this?" I said, "You said I'm not throwing up snot and stomach bile. So I want you to see this." And he did. He looked at it and he goes, "Oh, you're serious?" I said, "Yeah, I'm serious."
And Jennifer, I think that's true. Unfortunately, all doctors aren't created equal. And I think that finding the right doctor is super hard sometimes,
It's
depending on and what I was going to tell you guys earlier is when Joshua was born, we took him to OHSU, which is the biggest hospital in Portland, biggest hospital in Oregon, right? We took him in there and it was clear to me within probably 2 hours that they had no idea what to do with a kid with achondroplasia. So we never went back there. We went to Seattle Children's Hospital, which has some of the world-renowned doctors in dwarfism, and we still take him up there. So sometimes, even though it's a hassle to have to drive all the way to Seattle and back every time, I'm telling you, his care, his care
if you get good medical care, it's worth it.
Pristine now compared to what it would have been here, because you can just tell they don't know anything. And then I kept track of everything they were telling me. When I got up there, they're like, "No, that's not right. No, that's not the way it is." No. And it's not, sometimes it's not the doctor's fault. It's because they've never spent enough time with those type of patients and they just don't know.
Well, the other problem too is that a lot of the times doctors assume that because they went to medical school, they know better than the patient. And so when you get a doctor, the most important thing to do is get a doctor that understands he does not know everything. Get a doctor that understands when you explain things in funny ways that you're doing so for the purpose of them understanding. For instance, when I get certain types of pain, like I get a lot of pains that are burning and electrical and feeling. It's almost like being shocked. But when you're getting that in a weird place, like your breasts or your stomach, places that normal people don't get these pains, and you're trying to explain it to them and make them understand how serious you are, you have to put it in terms like, it feels like I'm being tased in my stomach.
Yeah.
Have you ever been tased? Or it feels, and you have to ask them, have you ever had this feeling? Okay, well, it's like this feeling. When I describe my stomach pain from eating meat, I describe it as getting kicked in the stomach by a horse. Why? I've been kicked in the stomach by a horse. It's the same fucking pain.
Yeah.
And if my doctor doesn't know what that feels like, then okay, what's the hardest thing you've been hit with in the stomach? Oh, a baseball bat. Okay, well, imagine like a 300-pound dude hitting you in the stomach with a baseball bat. That is my level of pain. 10 times out of 10, they get it. Yeah. They might roll their eyes at how long it takes you to explain it, but once they get it, they start listening. And don't be afraid to repeat yourself to your doctor 30 times, because sometimes that's what it takes.
Well, and you have to advocate for yourself too. There, a lot of times they'll say, no, you can't have that treatment. But if you push hard enough, I mean, when my dad was dying, they told me all kinds of stuff that wasn't true. And I was so upset. I said, look, first of all, I went and I just took his chart when they weren't looking, because I wanted to see what the hell they were doing. And then they were telling me oxycodone didn't come in liquid and all this other stuff.
Yes,
And, I'm a pharmacist, so I know what the drugs come in. And I basically said, either you do this or I'm calling the oncologist right now. This is it. You either do it or I'm calling them, because but the problem is most people aren't in the medical field, so they don't know things like that. So if a nurse tells them oxycodone doesn't come in liquid form, they believe them, right? They don't know.
And guys, the best question to ask your doctor will hate you. No, your doctor will be pissed at you for asking this question. It's a question that every mother on this planet hates. 3 letters. Why? When your doctor tells you no, why? What is the reason? My children are all special needs. And I have one who's autistic. I have one with 2 forms of brittle bone and ligament disease. And I have one with schizophrenia. I have taught my children, absolutely listen to authority. Absolutely ask why. If it doesn't make sense, ask why. And if your doctor cannot give you a legitimate reason why, then you request a second opinion right then and there.
Oh, I request a second opinion, even if they can tell me why.
And you know what? Don't have that fear of, oh my God, I'm going to ask a second opinion and the doctor is going to do something horrible. Guess what? If your doctor tries to retaliate against you, you call an ombudsman and you have his license pulled.
Yeah, you don't ever feel bad about a second opinion.
And an ombudsman is your best friend. Ombudsman with bad medical care, the ombudsman is your best friend, because they do not work for the hospital. Yeah. They work for the patients. A lot of people are under this gross misrepresentation that the ombudsman's job is to help the hospital. Actually, no, hospitals hate ombudsman, because ombudsman is like the equivalent of police internal affairs. Their job is to catch the hospital messing up. Yep. That's why hospitals hate them. That's why you have to dig for ombudsman information, because hospitals don't want you to have it, because when they screw up, which they do a lot, people have their medical rights violated every single day, more times than they know, and they don't even know that they can sue, because they think that the hospital is going to win, because they don't know that they can call an ombudsman, and they don't know that the ombudsman job is to fight for them and against the hospital.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of times doctors try to do the right things and they either just don't know. They're treating somebody and they either don't have experience with that, or it needs a specialist. That's why I always tell people, if you've got something wrong with you and the GP looks like they don't know what they're doing, or they just haven't fixed it, go to somebody that specializes in that. Mm-hmm. I mean, think of all the people with Lyme's disease that have suffered for years and years and years, but they've never seen a Lyme disease doctor.
I have fibromyalgia.
Yeah, that's another one. So, there's doctors that they can give you pain meds for fibromyalgia, but they're not going to be able to treat you as well as somebody who specializes in that disorder, that's seen 6,000 patients with fibromyalgia. They're just not.
And also, don't be totally afraid of Dr. Google. I know so many people that are afraid of what I call Dr. Google.
You have to be careful.
Google, you have to be careful. You have to be very careful. But if you list accurately all of your symptoms and how you are accurately, severely feeling them, it's going to be a long ass search that you're putting in. It's not going to be short. It can take the paragraphs. But when you put it in that specifically, you get much better results than just saying hurt head, and then the next thing you look up is tummy pain. No, you need to look up severe migraine, right front head with spine pain, shoulder pain, tingling in fingers, upset stomach, you list all of your symptoms and you put it in, and then actually read through it. Be smart. I mean,
So
call
here's
your
the
doctor
problem I
and say,
have.
"Hey, I'm not sure what's wrong. You said you weren't sure. I researched my symptoms online. This is what I found. What do you think about the results I found?" Because that usually then your doctor has that light bulb moment, goes, "Oh my God, you know what? I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you know what? This thing absolutely
Right.
makes sense for what you were
So,
talking
but
about."
this is the problem I have with Dr. Google is exactly what Kayla just said. So
Yep,
this is, and
that's true.
I have been through this so many times. In fact, I'm going through it with one of my followers now. They
Okay.
get on there and they think they're going to die because it tells them they have this horrible thing wrong with them, when I can tell what it really is anxiety.
Well, so
Because
here's the thing.
anxiety can manifest itself in almost anything. And if you start clicking in there and you don't have any medical background, even if you accurately put in, you got to remember that Google's only as good as the stuff that somebody puts in there.
Right.
So in some cases, you can say I have a headache and it might say, oh, brain tumor. And then immediately people that are stressed out go straight to the brain tumor, and they can convince themselves in 5 minutes that they're going to die of a brain tumor, even though really all they have is a migraine.
Yeah. And it's funny because I think maybe it's just because I've been sick for so long and because I've dealt with everything from suicidal ideation to actual attempted suicide. And I have a really weird relationship with death. But the way I look at it is, guys, I hate to break it to you, but you're going to die.
That's true.
You are going to die.
Right.
You are not going to be immortal. So whether you die today, tomorrow, 50 years from now, you're going to die. Don't be afraid of it. It's going to happen.
But
there's not a single person alive that's been
what I
able to
can tell you, though, Leah, is it's a different conversation when you're 20 than it is when you're 58. Because when I was 20, I was way more worried about dying than I am now, right?
When I was
young,
20,
you're more, most people are more worried about dying when they're young, especially if they have kids, especially if they have little kids, right?
When I was 20 years old, I was stunt riding on motorcycles, you know, scraping knees on pavement on motorcycles, jumping bike to bike, doing car shows.
Well, but you didn't think you were going to die.
I think that was kind of in the back of my head, always that hope back then, but it was always, I'm someone who, I have a very romantic idea of death and I am not afraid of it. It's something that I've always, and that's the thing too, is when you have someone who's been lifelong ill, we have a much different relationship with death than someone who's healthy. You know, a healthy person, I could see how that would be scary to die because everything's great, but when you were born sick and you've lived your whole life sick, it's kind of like, you know, if this ride ends, would I be that upset? Well, no, because I know that my discomfort and my pain and all that horrible stuff
is going to go away. Yep.
So it's a really weird relationship when you're healthy versus when you're sick. I feel like we have different levels of like how we welcome death. But no, I mean, look, realistically, do not go to brain tumor automatically because you have a headache and some tingling. You're not going to go to brain tumor automatically. What you want to do when you Dr. Google is you're going to go for the least severe plausibility first, then to the most severe plausibility. And it's your doctor who will more than likely find the more severe probability than you, because the severe probabilities, they all require some kind of testing: MRI, CT, X-ray, blood, urine, plasma, whatever test. So for your doctor to determine you're dying, you know, they're not going to be able to look at you, check your blood pressure and say, oh, yep, you got 3 seconds left. Those are jokes. So that doesn't.
Well, and it's just,
it's happened on and off.
People are like doctors, right? They're people. There's people that should never Dr. Google anything. They just shouldn't do it. They should stay away. And I don't know how many people I've told that, because I can tell if I called you up, Leah, within 15 minutes into the conversation, I can already tell if you were completely anxious and freaked out because of something you saw on the internet.
Yeah.
Because you would tell me and you would be basically freaked out
I would.
without any real data to support it other than something that you read on Google. I can go on to Google, and if I look hard enough, I can find something that says that Mother Teresa is an evil person. I'm sure I can find that.
It actually does exist.
I'm sure it does. But that doesn't mean it's true. And that's the problem with Google is, and it also depends on how far down the list you go, right?
Yeah.
If you're 4 pages into a search,
and it's saying you have some kind of malignant tumor that started in the back of your eye when you were a baby.
Right. No. You're going to die in 37 days and 46 minutes. And there's people that will set their timer for that amount of time, and they'll spend all their money, and they'll believe that. And it's not yet, Kayla. The magnesium's on its way, but the reason that it's not here yet is because it's going to be the first supplement with the brand new label. So that's the reason but it will be. We're working on it. I promise. We're working on it.
Well, I know one of your favorite things to end on usually.
Oh no, a reading.
So if anyone wants one, we can do one, but we don't have to.
You want to do it, Janet? Kayla?
Janet, another oracle? Okay. So I guess Kayla, you answered first.
Does she want to do it though?
Yeah. She says, "Yay."
She's
okay,
she's talking about the magnesium.
Oh, the magnesium. Still. Yeah. Sorry.
Who wants a reading? There's 3 people in here.
They're oracle cards, not tarot. I do not read tarot. Tarot and I do not get along. Okay. So first, I'm going to show you 3 decks. Kayla, you are going to let me know which one resonates to you the most. We have Alice. We have Moon. And we have Rebels.
Janet can do it. I think she'll do both of you probably.
Yeah, I can do both.
Okay, Kayla, pick one of those 3 decks.
I'll give you another quick peek. There's a reason why they're really quick peeks. Alice, because I don't want you to connect until you find the deck. Moon, Alice for sure. Okay.
I know you do, Janet. Alice, Kayla says.
All right, Miss Alice, here.
Last time Janet tried to do it, she didn't have good internet, and we weren't getting her messages in time.
Yeah. Okay, so Kayla, you are going to stare at these cards. Or sorry, my bad. You're going to stare at the card until I tell you to stop, and you're going to form a connection with the card. You're gonna put your energy into it. You're going to put your thoughts, your love. Just really focus on the cards. Connect a bond with the cards. Treat it almost like you're hugging your friend. In fact, if you can, kind of give it an energetic hug just to get on there. Yep. Whatever you're doing right now, do exactly that because I can feel it coming in. But do more of what you're doing now to connect, please. Perfect. Okay. So I am going to start shuffling. I need you to think in as specific detail as you can about what you want guidance on or answers to. I do not want to know any details. Do not tell me anything. The only thing you're going to tell me is when to stop. That's all you're going to tell me is when to stop, and it can take as long or as little as you need it to. By the way, guys, I'm a horrible shuffler, which is funny.
You always say that.
I do because I'm so bad. Like it's laughable how horrible I am at shuffling. Ooh. Ooh. Lordy, lady. This is a very intriguing. There's a lot of I don't want to say confusion. I'm going to flip this through one time. I don't want to say there's confusion.
Okay, she said stop.
Yeah, I saw it. It was
okay,
the
good.
last flop. I was part of the way through it.
I want to make sure that everything works correctly, even though I have no idea how all this works, but I just sort of.
You're in a period of growing. This card says growing up. You're in a growing period of your life. That could be mental, emotional, physical, but you're in a period of growth, spiritual. You're in a growth movement. However, you're not really. Follow the White Rabbit is kind of saying your curiosity is not meeting opportunities. So whatever you're growing into is something that you are curious about, but it's not something that you're ready to go all the way into, because you have these, like, it almost feels like you're afraid of judgment. And judgment's not the right word, not judgment. There's like two sides of a fence, and you're worried about how either side of the fence is going to react to what you're wanting to do. You're worried about other parties and how they're going to see things. You need to be the leader in this situation. So you need to guide, whether that's yourself or something else, we'll find out. You have to work through your disbelief in this situation. There is at the very end, but impossible things are possible. So it's really hard to see with my ring light. Hold on. Let me see if I can move this. That just makes it so much worse. Okay. Nope. Worse still. Is that better? There we go. Impossible things. So impossible things are possible. Your fear that this situation is going to kind of divide everybody more. I don't know if that's really a solid fear quite yet, but it's very real to you. It's as real to you as you're sitting and feeling the cushion beneath you. Yeah, this is not a fast process. This is a very slow process. I feel like it's a process you've been in for a while now. This isn't just like something you woke up one day and you're like, oh, look, I'm going to do this. It's something that's like really been enveloping of you. What else? So you are also dealing with people who are breaking promises to you, and you're aware that they're breaking the promises. And the funny thing is you know they're going to break the promise before they even do it. Ooh. And you actually, but the funny thing is you know when this person is going to break their promise to you every time when they're going to do it, but you keep trying to tell yourself that they're not going to, but you know they're going to. And so your anger at that doesn't make a lot of sense, because you know they're going to do it. And that's exactly what this is like, you're getting mad about errors are not being covered. Like, the errors are happening. They're not being covered up or anything. And they keep happening because the promises are being made or being broken. And so you got to figure out, like, would you rather have false hope that these promises are going to come true? Or would you rather just say, look, I know when the promise is fake, so now I can prepare myself to deal with it myself, because I'm going to be the one who's going to have to deal with this in the end? Or would I rather keep relying on this fake promise and be let down every time? And I'm not saying that this person breaks their promises every time. It's not every time, but you know when it's going to happen. It's in your gut. You got to believe in yourself. You got to trust your gut. Like, your gut is telling you everything you need to know. And it's funny because just like you're fighting with this person, you're fighting with your gut on what to do in this situation. Do not do the things. You are misbehaving. Do not do the things that are bad for you. Kayla, you bad girl. You bad girl. You're drinking the poison. You know exactly what I'm talking about, too. And the poison is not a person. It's a situation. You know that. Stop drinking the poison. That lemonade was not meant for you to drink. And you know that. You know that. And you know that you don't belong in the situation that was. I feel like if I don't want to get, if I keep saying more, it'll really put you on blast in a way that I feel like you wouldn't want to be. But you know the situation that I'm talking about. Stop drinking that lemonade. Because every time you drink lemonade from that situation, you always get a stomach ache. So that's on you. That is on you. Stop fearing. It's funny because the whole situation is actually a really positive situation. And so, like, no matter what's going to happen, it's not like bad either way. It's just, it's giving you unnecessary anxiety. Maybe if you investigate more into you need to do more research on it. And I'm seeing books, so read up on what on this situation. I feel like you're watching a lot on it, like you're getting a lot visually, but you need to read it up. There's certain things about the situation you're locked in that you're not going to change your mind on. So hold on, because I feel like the things that you're stuck on are things that actually you know that you need to change. And it's only like 2 or 3 things. It's not the whole thing. It's only like a few aspects of the situation. And you actually know kind of, you know what I mean? Like you know what things you're not supposed to be stuck on and you're sticking on them because it's almost like, I don't want to say it's pride. Pride is the wrong word. But kind of like it's Britney bitch situation. Okay. Like, but it's me. Like, you need to drop that part of it. This situation is actually reversible if you wanted to, which is rare because usually most situations are not. This one is. So keep that in mind. I have your answer why you can't find clarity. You have not been doing self-work, which is the one thing that you've been told to do that you keep refusing to do because there are certain things that you don't want to face and deal with. You know you need to, but you don't want to. So until you do, you're going to be stuck. Those little things that you don't want to do, I mean, literally wake up is what the card's saying. Like, those little things, you're going to have to deal with them. And it's funny because you know that some of these things that are, I guess, flaws are so easy to change, but you don't want to change them because they're not a problem to you. So they shouldn't be a problem anywhere else, even though that you know that they're a problem in other places. So you got to kind of grow up on that a little bit. Like, you know, this is a situation where kind of everybody needs to be appeased. And the funny thing is, it's not a negative situation. Everybody's otherwise, you know, great in the situation. You've got a lot of stubbornness and you don't want to, I mean, I don't want to say you don't want to grow up, but you're Peter Panning it.
She says she's lazy, Liya.
Yeah. I mean, but here's the thing. If you don't fix it, you're going to fall into a momentum. So if it doesn't get fixed, it doesn't go well. If you don't set your course, if you're not going to do the work on it, then those things that you're worried about, they're going to hit you hard, really, really hard in the face. TKO, total knockout. And by that point, you will find yourself going, why did I not fix that when I could have? Oh my God, I'm an idiot. Like, this would have been so easy. It would have taken no effort for me to fix this. Why? So, and look, the law is not just. So if it comes crashing down because you refuse to make changes, it's going to come down in a really unfair and a really crappy way. Yikes. And it's not going to be fair. If you think it's unfair now, just wait. Just wait, because The cards are saying, like, this is not going to be good. It's not going to be a nice, lovely afternoon if the changes don't happen. Your house of cards will come crumbling. Everything will come crumbling. It's funny because you still, even hearing things like there's still that voice in your head that's going, yeah, but it's not that big of a deal. That's not the voice to listen to. Do not forget who you were before the situation. I feel like you know what that means. Yeah, I mean, the situation will continue to get worse until you really... I said this just a few minutes ago.
Follow your own good advice.
Didn't I just say this?
Yeah.
Literally?
Yeah. I think she's starting to get it now. It's
no nonsense. Enough.
Making sense
lady.
To her.
Enough nonsense. I think at this point, yeah. Oh, and managed to be glad through this. Like, I know that a lot of this has kind of been like a rag on you, like, but it's also not a negative situation. It's just, you're the person that every now and then you need somebody to be like, wake up, let's go, chop, chop, you're late. So you're starting to run late for this tea party. Open your curiosity, do your research. This is all just kind of the same. That's funny. This one says messages for the rabbit, which literally means connect, listen to intuition, listen to self, trust yourself. I'm looking to see if there's anything new. If you do the work that you know you need to do, this will be a good thing for you. What does that say? Declaring freedom. Passing the test. This is a life test for you. This is at where you are. This is one of those things where the next stage of your life will be altered by the decision you make here, because it's either going to go the right way or you're going to waste your time. These cards are literally, you can go the right way or you can waste your time. So everything else is a repeat. And if you want, you're more than welcome to tell me what that was. I mean, I know, but if you want to tell the rest of the world what that was, you are more than welcome to. That's what I do. You're welcome.
Can you see the chat, Liya?
I can, yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you could see it. So okay, good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can see it. It is totally up to you if you want to tell people what it was about. I mean, I get to know what the situation is because I'm reading the cards and I can literally see what's going on. So it's a little unique.
What you really want to do in life.
This is, I mean, you already know. You not only already know, but you've actually had dreams about yourself in the place that you want to be, to the point where you woke up from the dream and it felt like deja vu. And I feel like you're rejecting it because you have a harder time accepting stuff like that. But you really like that deja vu like dream. It's telling you something. Go down that path, especially since this is a recurring dream for you. This isn't the first time you've had the dream. You've had it like, I don't know, 10, 15 times now, at least. You remember at least 5 of them, and it's always the same. And you started having this dream when you were younger. Like, it's not even a new dream. It's a dream you've had recurrently. So, like, why aren't you doing it, girl? Because it's plausible for you. And you know it's plausible. So why? Why are you getting in your own way? Don't do that. You're welcome. You're guys, I say all the time, listen to your dang gut. Yeah. Your gut will never steer you wrong. Your brain will lie to you. Your heart will lie to you. Your gut is selfish. Your gut is the most selfish organ in your body. It will never lie to you, and it will treat you the worst. But it's always right. It is always right. Anybody else want or need a read?
Janet.
Miss Janet, are you still with us, ma'am?
Hopefully she's still in here.
I know. I'm getting like laggy because we've got storms blowing in and out. So I think we may have lost Janet. See, I'm not logged into my my YouTube, so I can't even see. You're very welcome, Kayla. And yeah, I mean, I hope that helps, but definitely continue those starting steps that you already started for this career that you want to do. And don't worry about disappointing anyone, because I think at the end of the day, you'll be really surprised at how proud they'll be that you're doing it, and your fear that that the pride won't be
there she is.
Real. So just keep that in mind.
All Janet's right, here.
Alice, Moon, Sacred Heart, or Sacred Rebel. Sorry. Alice, Moon, my bad. Rebel. Just wait while we're. Just waiting on you, Janet. Alice. Moon. I don't know if you guys can tell how light and dark it's getting.
Yeah.
Storm's back in. Okay, Miss Janet, same thing as last time. I want you to connect to these cards. They are your friend. You love them. Give them a nice, big, energetic hug. Form a relationship, form a bond, form a connection. Send your energy into the cards. If it helps, guys, if you have a hard time, sometimes it helps to touch your computer screen in the center of where you see the card. Whatever you're doing right now, keep doing that, Janet. Okay. So, Janet, I'm going to have you think of your question in as much detail as possible. Again, whether it is a situation or a question or guidance, think about it in as much detail as possible. Do not tell me anything except for when to stop. I do not want any information. So I've had people say, why don't you want any information beforehand? I don't want information beforehand because if I know what the question is, it's going to skew my results. It's going to skew what I see. It's going to skew what I think. It's going to skew what I hear. Because, for instance, if somebody tells me that they want to know about their relationship, I could completely miss something totally important that has nothing to do with any kind of relationship that they need to hear. So if you ever get a reading from someone, they should not have to ask you a question. If they need to ask you a question to give you a reading, they are not real. Okay. Someone who really has the gift does not need to ask you a question first. They will be able to get your questions simply from the cards and the energy that comes from the cards. And do not let people charge you ridiculous amounts of money. I never charge for this, ever. And I mean ever. I could make a killing doing this.
Yeah, you could.
$5-10 a card read, 8 hours a day. It takes about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But it is bad karma. So, yeah. So when you see somebody charging, tell them to enjoy their karma because it is bad karma. And yes, I see people say, oh, donations. Janet, I know you're done. I stopped. Oh, donations, please. Blah, blah. that's still a charge. A donation is something you willingly give, like a tip. And even then, accepting a tip, kind of weird when you're telling somebody important stuff for their future. That's like going to your doctor and giving him a tip for writing you a prescription for heart pills that'll stop a heart attack. Like, do you tip your doctor for giving you medicine? No. Don't give us money. This is not why we do this. If we ask you for money, we're not real. Anyway.
Okay.
Janet, work through your fears, my dear, in this situation. You have a new start coming. I feel like this light is... There we go. You are not sure how to let go of the situation, or how to... I don't know if it's a let go. It feels more like an end the situation, or maybe not even end, like a resolve. You're not sure how to resolve it. There we go. So there have already been decisions made that are set in stone. I don't know if those are good or bad. I'm going to put this off to the side. I'm going to find out. Communication is gone in this situation. Do not let your pride get in the way, please. Keep a check on your pride. Which, honestly, most people get this card, you guys. It is so rare that people check their pride. If I could count on one hand the amount of times I've gotten people who don't need to check their pride. People usually have to check their pride. You're not taking the time to heal right now. I feel like that might be one of the things that needs to change. But yeah, right now there's a lot of taking happening, not a lot of giving. And there's no practical plan in place, which is making the situation very... not aggravating, very... It's not even tense. It's just eggshell. It's an eggshell situation. There we go. You don't really have a whole lot of faith in your dreams as far as how the situation is going to play out. You're going to have to be bold to make the first move, whether you want to or not. But this is a have to do. This is a must do. Need to do, important thing. You have to make the first move. You need to also take time to breathe, like collect your thoughts, figure it out before you make the first move. So I guess I should go back. Step 1, figure out what you're feeling. Step 2, make the first move. But really figure it out first. And you're going to have to take action, because I feel like there's a timer on this. I see a big clock and it's moving really quickly. So you're running out of time. A new cycle will begin. New romantic cycle begins, it says. This doesn't feel like romance to me, which is why I disagree with that card. I disagree that there could be something new coming from this, but I don't know that it's romance. Your commitment is not being tested. Your patience is, but not your commitment. You need to surrender to your divine. Whatever you believe in, whatever you pray to, it's in their hands. It's in the universe's hands. Submit to that. Learn the lessons you need to do. It's the end of a tough cycle is going to approach. You're in a safe space, so there's not really any danger. Believe in the impossible. That will happen. No win-win situation on this. I feel like there's not really a winning or losing on this kind of situation. It's just kind of like... it's a situational situation. That makes sense to you, Janet. I know it does. Luck is on your side. Good for you. That's good. You're not stepping out of your comfort zone, which tells me you're going to have to step out of your comfort zone to take the lead on this. You're not holding your vision, which is weird because you're someone who's actually, you usually, like, when you have a vision of something, like, you're pretty... like adamant about it. So the fact that you're not holding your vision on this is kind of odd for you. That's a weird step for you to take. It hasn't reached resolution. And a lot of that's because you're not taking lead. You're not close to achieving your goal until you take lead. The consciousness isn't within reach. I mean, there's not great communication happening, and that's what needs to happen. So, this isn't going to have some fiery climax. This isn't going to be some like big boom. The result of this situation is going to be so minuscule that you guys will probably not even notice it. So you're dragging on something unnecessarily. Emotions aren't even running high anymore. Like at this point, it's just like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we've done this already. So, and obviously them taking the lead hasn't been working. So the question you need to ask yourself is, how much longer are you willing to wait? How much longer are you willing to wait for resolution? Because it's in your control, only yours. The other person doesn't have control over this. You're not looking at the bigger picture. You're like itemizing everything. Everything's being itemized. Bird's eye view. Bird's eye view will make all those little itemized things make a whole lot more sense. You need to bring love into the situation. I get that you're done. Okay. I get it. I hear you. I can see your frustration. And I'm like, literally what I see right now is a brick wall and like a foam bat and somebody hitting a brick wall with a foam bat. And that's what the situation feels like. Like you're trying to break down a brick wall with a foam bat. Everybody's tired of the situation. It's not just you. All you have to do is put down the foam bat and get the damn sledgehammer. Bust down the wall with a sledgehammer because the foam bat is not working. I feel like you understand what that means. You're good enough for the situation. You know that you are. Confidence is going to be the key to this, and you already know that. Your energy will gain momentum once you pick up the sledgehammer and put down the foam bat. These are the answers you need. The answers you need are coming. These are the answers you're asking for. So you know what to do. I said this like 2 seconds ago. Nothing's going to come out of it, guys. Nothing will come out of it. Nothing. The work you're overworking certain parts of the situation, and it's not going to pay off because you're working on the wrong parts of the situation. You're expecting so you are expecting this big bang of a change. You are expecting this to be like the climax of fireworks at the end. You know how like you go to a fireworks show and you see all the little fireworks and you're waiting for like the big bang at the end. Well, you've already had the big bang at the end and you're like, where's the climax? Well, it's not going to come because it wasn't a professional fireworks show. It was done by your neighbor, Bob, and they don't have the big climax fireworks. So that big climax you're waiting for will never come out of this situation because it's not a situation that has a climax moment. It really isn't. You're letting your past like dictate so much of the situation. You really need to show yourself more in the situation. You're not adjusting, and you're not adjusting. You're refusing to adjust. In fact, you're not meditating. You're not contemplating. You're done. And at this point, you're almost enjoying holding on to the negativity because at this point, it's like, again, really? More? Let's go. More? Let's go. And you need to get out of that mind frame because that mind frame isn't helping you. Good things will lie ahead, but first you need to balance yourself or it will all be for naught. So you're welcome to say what that was about if you would like to. You do not have to, but that is all I have for you.
No.
There you go. Guys, my cards are very rarely nice. My cards will tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. That's the difference between a real reading and a not real reading. A not real reading is, oh, sweetheart, your life is so amazing and everything's going to be wonderful and you're going to be a rich superstar and have millions of dollars. To where you go, oh my God, that was the best $20 I ever spent. And then And then when you're there like 15 years later, I don't understand. I was supposed to have millions of dollars. Why am I still sitting in this apartment? Because you paid $20 for a reading. And when you went to the person that said, fix your situation, you didn't listen. And what we told you would happen would happen. This is why I don't have private clients, because when people don't listen to the advice and everything goes wrong, I go, wish you would have seen that coming. Wish somebody would have warned you. And they go, you did warn me. And I go, oh, so why didn't you listen?
That's funny.
And the answer is always, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, very, very fun.
You look happier than you were at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, this stuff always makes me happy. And I mean, it's good to kind of regurgitate when stuff like that happens all the time, and it's like constant with doctors. It's like sometimes it feels good to just
Yeah, no, I know,
because it's just,
I hear these stories every day from people all over the world, believe it or not. This is not just a United States thing.
It's not. It happens more here than anywhere else. So
yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah, and that's sad. I mean, we really need an overhaul of our medical system. We really do. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. While Big Pharma has a hold on medical practice, it's never going to happen. Because so many of the drugs out there are so horrendously bad for you. And it's funny because you look at all the new diseases that pop up and all the new intolerances and, oh, well, 40 years ago, we didn't have gluten intolerance. 40 years ago, you weren't putting stuff in bread to make it last for a month.
That's true. That's
so
exactly
what do
right.
you think happens when you add chemicals to everything that you eat?
Yep.
40 years ago, we weren't adding chemicals to the meats in grocery stores. Either you put it in the freezer when you get home, or it's bad. It doesn't last in the fridge for a week. That's not natural for real meat.
That's right.
And it's unfortunate because a lot of people don't realize, like, it's in our diet.
There was no fast food. Back in the day, you grew your food on your own farms. You got the eggs from your chickens. You went to the market. You went to the market and bought stuff from other people who grew it at their house. There wasn't. You're right. We didn't put chemicals in everything.
Our bodies aren't made to digest formaldehyde.
No,
Guess
they're
what?
not.
Formaldehyde is in a ridiculous amount of things that you eat and drink. Minimal amounts of things like
yes, I think that probably is what it is, Janet. That's what I think too. I do.
Yeah.
But I think you're going to get through this. I'm completely convinced that you're going to make it through this because you have the right attitude.
Yeah.
And you're in good shape and you've taken care of yourself throughout the years. So I think you're going to prevail.
Yeah. It's going to feel like a really close call, Janet. I'll give you that warning. It's going to feel like a close call, but you'll be good.
I think she's going to make it.
She's going to be fine. You're going to have some close calls, but you'll be okay. You got a while. Don't sell yourself short. And that's the other thing. I mean, you really give power to what you believe in. Thoughts have more power than just about anything else in this world. I mean, there are some really interesting diseases out there in the world. Like, for instance, there are women out there who crave to be pregnant so badly that their body physically thinks it's pregnant, will mimic pregnancy. Their stomach will grow. They will feel kicks and flutters. There will be no baby. Thought is very, very powerful. You can create thoughts. When people say manifestation is thoughts. So if you manifest that it's going to happen, it will happen. And when you really manifest, I mean, don't just kind of half-ass manifest. Like, actually do manifestation meditations where you manifest exactly what you want and do them every single day, 7 days a week, before you go to bed, or before your nap in the afternoon. Yes, it's tedious. So is taking your medication, but you do it.
Right.
So is brushing your teeth. So is eating. So there's a million things we do in our day that are tedious. And it's funny how few people take homeopathic things that can really help you and throw them away because it's not normal. It's not mainstream. It's meditation can get you through a lot.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
So manifest it, Janet. You'll get there. There you go. Yep. Face it straight on. That's all you can do. And it'll be fine. It's not over yet, but you'll be okay. In the long run, you'll be okay. It's really weird to be able to see those things about people. It's really weird. It's really weird. Never gets old, though. Never gets old. That's my husband, by the way.
Oh, I see him. I see him back there.
There he is.
Yep. Hi.
Hi, bye. Yeah. Anyway, it's been a pleasure.
Yes, thank you, Liya. I really do appreciate you coming on here again.
Always.
You're an awesome interview for sure.
I curse a little bit, but
that's okay. That's okay.
It happens.
Yep.
Janet, if you need any more readings or anything, if you're not on my TikTok, just message me or just ask Michael. He'll give you
I've got her email. Yeah.
And I can always do private reads for you whenever you want. Like I said, it's not something I charge for. So it's something I do.
You don't want that bad karma coming after you.
I'm sick enough.
You've got enough issues without karma coming
I'm
for
good.
you.
I'm all good. I will not. Yeah, no. And it's funny because for a while I thought that it was all, BS, that bad karma came from it. And I spent about a week charging for readings as donations. And then I had like 4 months of crap. And I go, never again.
Wow.
Lesson learned. Thank you for the warning. And I only did it for a week and I had 4 months of crap. It was not worth it.
Nope.
Awesome. Well, have a wonderful day. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Liya. Thank you. I'm Pharmacist Michael. I hope you guys enjoyed that. She's always super fun to talk to. So if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. If she doesn't see them, I will get them to her. And as always, be happy and be healthy.